Hey, hey, hey! Welcome back to the channel where your favorite faceless potato, moi, reads the wildest story from the darkest fairy pit of mother-in-law madness. Today we're diving into some jaw-dropping mother-in-law from hell stories, and trust me, these ladies did not come to play nice. I'll be rating each mother-in-law on my personal Halo Illmeter, a totally scientific and not at all biased system that rank from meh to malevolent. So here's how it works. Saintly supporter. Sweet, maybe a little noisy, but harmless. Meddling mama. Loves control, hate boundaries. Passive aggressive queen. Sugar coated shade and master of guilt trip. You know what I'm talking about, right? And then the last one, the devil. Straight up chaos and human form. No notes, just vibe, and it's evil one. So, grab your snacks, hide your wedding rings, and let's dive into the first story from the underworld of in-laws.
My husband and I are both in our early 30s now, but we were high school sweethearts. We met when we were 13 and we were best friends for a few years before we started dating. We had a tight knit group of friends and hung out as a group all the time.
Aww, wholesome start. These are always the relationship mother-in-law seems to hate the most for some reason.
My husband had a traumatic childhood and was neglected growing up. In high school, we both worked and would buy his necessities, but so would my parents. My mom even took him to the optometrist and got him the glasses he desperately needed.
That's love. And also, OP parents are already doing more parenting than mother in law ever did.
My mother in law was always very odd, but as soon as we started dating, her hatred for me became known. I can honestly say, with a clear conscience, that even when I was treated badly, I was still respectful and quiet toward her.
Okay, kudos to OP for still being respectful while mother in law is out here acting like a whole villain.
She's very religious, and twice as a teenager, my husband, obviously at that time my boyfriend, would be hanging out at our house, and when it was time for him to go home, I'd be invited over for dinner. I'd walk into his house to find chairs set up in circle around the living room, and people from her church would be waiting for us.
Excuse me? What now?
They would ask why.
Wait, excuse me, guys. Let me drink some water. Okay, now I'm ready. Oh, yeah. Do you guys hate your voice? I hate my voice sometimes. I don't know why I said that. Uh, Anyways, they would ask why I was taking her son away from her and how we could be comfortable living and seeing together. Okay, that's not a dinner. That's full on purity tribunal. I'm out. I wish I was making this up. When we turned 18, he moved in with me and my family while we attended college and worked. Wait, so they weren't living together. So what was they talking about how, they're living in sin and everything? That's so confusing. Anyways, we moved in into our own apartment and got married a few years later. Oh, congratulations, guys. I'm happy for them. His entire side of the family refused to come to our wedding because she had badmouthed me so badly. His older and younger sister loved me so and were in my bridal party. Her entire family skipped the wedding because mother-in-law couldn't stop talking trash. That's like a next level of pettiness. Anyways, they have always accepted me and loved me and agree with my husband that my mother-in-law was just crazy and this is how things always were with her. I was pregnant a few months after our wedding and would get phone calls from his grandmother and aunt saying I was A disgusting human being for taking away their grandson and nephew. Oh my god. OP is pregnant and still getting harassed by mother-in-law flying monkeys. Leave this pregnant woman alone. Jesus Christ. I was so stressed all of the time and would cry to my husband that I was sorry his family felt that way. Aww. It truly broke my heart to be so hated. They only hated me because my mother-in-law consistently bartok me. They refused to come to our baby shower. My husband put his foot down, called his mother, grandmother, and aunt, and told them if they couldn't accept me, they would get none of us. They said that was fine. They didn't speak to us for 3 years. You know what? I'm kind of really happy that OP's husband is standing up for her and he's not actually siding with his crazy mother. That's, yeah. We ran into mother-in-law one day while we were out when our daughter was 3 years old, and mother-in-law cried when she saw her, explained she has been getting into therapy and has gotten help. We believed her and gave her a chance. We allowed her to have a supervised visit with our daughter and had a weekly dinner. A year later, my husband and I adopted two sweet little boys, both born drug addict with special need. A few years into this, through a lot of therapy and development appointment, we found out they had fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, and our older son was diagnosed with reactive attachment disorder, as well as oppositional defiance disorder. This past January, my husband and I were approached by two different people letting us know that my mother in law had been talking shit about our children. And she even told them that if I was a better mother, my son wouldn't have any of those diagnosed. What? What? She really said it's your fault. Your son is a special need. I'm sorry. That is pure craziness. What? I lost it. I broke down. For the first time in 15 years of us being together, I comforted her. I told her that I was her daughter in law and the mother of her grandchildren, and no longer would she speak against me or my children ever again. She didn't apologize, but agree with me. Later that night, my sister in law calls me and says that her mom was running around the house, speaking to herself, throwing things. My husband went over there, and my mother in law explained to him that she was a drug addict, and she only spoke badly of me and her grandchildren because she was both high and drunk. She says she's addicted to, I don't know if I can say this, but y'all can read it on the screen. Yeah. My husband and sister in law told her she couldn't be addicted to that. She said she was also high on, okay, more drugs. I don't know if I could say that. This potato has not read all the guideline of YouTube. But y'all can read it on the screen. Okay. My husband and sister in law pleaded with her to get mental help. They knew she was lying about being an addict. Oh, interesting. I wasn't expecting that. Well, actually, that is expected. The following day, she checked herself into a rehab facility and had my husband down as her point of contact for the facility. Days later, my husband got a phone call that they did a full blood test and found absolutely nothing in her system. Whoa. Not shocked. She was embarrassed that she got caught lying and tried to check herself out, but they offered her mental health service. Now she has a few people from the drug rehab she was in calling her mom and always posting on her Facebook wall about how she is the greatest mom they ever had. If they only knew. I got a Facebook message from one of them a few minutes ago. They asked me why I took her children away from her. Oh. If you read this far, thanks. She put me through a lot more, and I could honestly write a novel about it. Honestly, I believe you. Like, she sound bonkers. I'm just losing my mind and need to vent. I'm sorry for this. You can vent to us anytime. We have. She was embarrassed that she got caught lying and tried to check herself out, but they offered her mental health service. Now she has a few people from the drug rehab she was in calling her mom and always posting on her Facebook wall about how she is the greatest mom they ever had. If they only knew. I got a Facebook message from one of them a few minutes ago. They asked me why I took her children away from her. Oh. If you read this far, thanks. She put me through a lot more, and I could honestly write a novel about it. Honestly, I believe you. Like, she sound bonkers. I'm just losing my mind and need to vent. I'm sorry for this. You can vent to us anytime. We have. And that's the end of this roller coaster. The fact that Opie still hasn't lost her mind is really amazing. I have to say that. Okay, so let's rate this mother in law on our scale from angel to the devil. And the final rating, she's absolutely on top of that chart. Okay, so now it's your turn. Where would you put this mother in law on our scale? Drop it in the comment. And if you think therapy isn't a miracle fix for being a bad person, hit the like button. Subscribe for more Reddit deep dive every week. No face needed, just good stories.